Hi, I'm Leah Wentworth, Youth Services Librarian, and today we're making yarn wall hangings with some easy beginning macrame knots and braiding. You should have your kit with yarn and a dowel rod in it. So you should have 6 colors of yarn, and we have put them in the bags in little bundles of 5 strings and then sort of wrap them up. So they may have become tangled. I'm trying to untangle my bundles now. So you should have some different textures of yarn, 5 string bundles, 2 of each color. And if they've become tangled, you might need to spend some time straightening them out and laying them out so that you are can easily pick them up and work with them. And you should have a dowel rod that you're going to use as your base, and then 1 single string that you are going to use to make a hanger to tie on either end when you're done. So decide how you want to lay out your colors. You have enough to make it symmetrical with, so I have 2 bundles of 5 strings each of this yellow mustard color, and I'm going to put those on the outsides. And then I've got the 2 reddish brown, and then the 2 green brown colors, and then my off-white, my rosy pink, and this blue teal color in the middle. And I'm going to work with each bundle as one piece and sort of fold it in half to find the middle. So this is your middle. And the first knot that the most important knot for this is called a lark's head knot. And you lay the string like this. So there's a loop here that you can go through, and then you put the rest of the string through there and pull tight. So you got to make sure you get all the yarn and pull that. Don't pull too tight because you're going to want to move this around, because this is actually the edge. I'm starting from the outside. So I have 1 knot tied. I'm going to go ahead and tie all of my bundles onto here, and then we can work on adding some braiding and simple knotting to each bundle. So now I've got all of these knotted onto here, and I can sort of adjust them, straighten them out, space them out how I want to. You can sort of bundle them more towards the center or spread them out. I think I need them spread out a little bit. Pull them tight if they're a little loose. And we can do some different braiding and knotting with these. You have a few beads in your kit as well. If you want to pick somewhere to put your beads, maybe in the center or maybe in one of the colors on the outside. You should have about 4 beads at least in your kit. Macrame and braiding, you need some tension, so you are going to need to find a way to secure your dowel rod at the top so that you can pull against it. You can maybe get some tape and tape it to your table, or if you have thumbtacks you can put in a table, you can put thumbtacks in. You could put thumbtacks to pull against. You're not going to need to pull too hard, but in order to make a braid or a nice set of knots, you will need to pull against it a little bit. Or maybe if you're doing this with a family member, they can hold it for you. I have 2 of these big round beads and a couple of these smaller beads, and I'm going to put these larger wooden beads in the center, I've decided, sort of offset from each other. If you have trouble getting the yarn through the bead, you can use tape to help. You can kind of twist the yarn and then maybe it'll go all the way through. There's a trick you can use for threading yarn through a bead where you use a little piece of tape and you get it on the end of your yarn and you roll it up. Basically you're making like the end of a shoelace, a little plastic coated end for your yarn. If you twist it just so, then you can usually get that through the bead. And then to secure the bead where I want it, I'm going to have to loop the yarn around and tie a knot. Just a simple through knot there, like that. Or if you think you can make a knot big enough, you can might have to knot it a couple times to make it big enough to just hold the bead above it. I don't think one knot will do it. No, it'll go right over that. Have to knot it around a few times. Okay, to illustrate a basic square macrame knot, you're supposed to use 4 strings, and I'm going to do this with my outside colors. And it is easy. I've taped down my dowel rod a little bit so I can pull against it, but not too hard. And this is easier with thicker cord. Yarn isn't really the best beginning macrame stuff, but you basically need 4 strings. I'll show you the illustration so you can pause on the illustration here. You need 4 strings. I don't know if you can see this very well. And then you take the outside one. Actually, I'm going to go in the same outside. 4 strings. I don't know if you can see this very well. And then you take the outside one. Actually, I'm going to go in the same outside one, and you go under like that. Then you take this one, this other outside one, and you go over and through. You pull that tight. And then this one you need to bring through here. And you have to pull all of these tight at the same time. So now I've got half of a square knot. The 2 cords in the center are my anchor cords, and the outside ones are the ones I'm using for tying. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go behind with this one and over and through with this one. Pull. And then this one needs to go through this one before I pull it tight. And then pull that tight again. Pulling on all of those, but not too tight, because it actually will look better if you leave it a little bit loose so you can see the parts of the knot. So there I've got my basic square knot. And I'm going to go down a little bit and then do that again. And you'll notice that the outside cords that you're tying with are going to get shorter quicker because you're using them to tie these knots. So that one went behind, and this one goes over and through. And then this top one that's come behind has to go through the loop you made with that other outside knot. And you pull tight. So you can leave some space too. Say that my first knot is up here, and then I've left about 1 inch, and now I'm going to pull this one tight down here to leave a space. And then that's just a half a square knot when you do it once, and then you got to do it twice again to finish the second half. So behind, over and through, and then this one that is laying behind has to go through that loop you just made. And I'm going to pull that tight all the way up to the first half. So you can see here I've got 2 square knots sort of an inch apart, and it just creates a pattern. So that's something that you can do with a bunch of your cords. You can do that with as many of your strands as you want to. You can also do some simple braiding. Maybe I'll braid the second to middle color here. I'll braid the rosy dusty pink on either side. So I'm just going to split it into 3 sections and braid it. Just take the outside into the middle, outside into the middle, outside into the middle. It's a loose, I'm making a loose braid because I don't want to pull too hard. And this yarn, it kind of sticks to itself, so you don't have to worry too much about knotting it, although I probably will make a loose knot at the bottom. Or if you have some extra cord, you can tie a string around the bottom. This is gonna, braiding this is gonna make it shorter than the rest of your strings when you get down to the bottom of it. I'm just going to take it and tie a knot, a loose knot in it. So here is my yarn wall hanging, and I have some braiding, some macrame, some beads, and I may still trim the bottom a little bit. And the last step though is to make a little hanger. You should have 1 single piece of yarn in your kit that you kept separate that you can tie on either side. Just any kind of knot, one on either side of your dowel rod will make it into a little hanger where you can hang this up on the wall. Tie one side and then the other. And got my little hanging wall hanging that I can continue to tie knots in or adjust, but I think I like it just the way it is right now.